What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your man Chaz Ellis, and once again it's a time where I like to tell you something about my life, story from my life to kind of give you some information that you could possibly use in your own life. Maybe you can't use the information in your own life, but you would just be entertained. That's cool too. But anytime we call this story time with Chaz. Okay, this happened back when I was in kindergarten. I've told you a couple stories about, or maybe one story about my kindergarten time before. It was a special time in my life because I learned a lot. I know people say you don't learn much in kindergarten, but you do. You learn how to share. You learn how to do certain things. You learn how to work with other people, which you wouldn't have known when you were a little kid. You know, it's kind of one of those things you can take a lot of kindergarten stuff through life. And today was no different. The teacher asked us to build block castles, which I was super excited about because I love to build block castles. And she said that we were going to get into groups and build block castles. Now, one group had this kid in it named Daniel. And it was crazy because me and Daniel were in a competition. It was like an ongoing competition. He was like one of these really smart dudes. Even in kindergarten, you could tell like he was going to probably be the dude who was going to graduate at the age of 14 or some crap like that. He was like a really smart dude. And anyway, me and him would always be in these competitions over building these Legos and these blocks and just Lincoln logs and everything. We'd always be trying to see who could build something the highest. You know, building towers and stuff like that. Sometimes he'd win, sometimes I would win. So we was like in this heated competition that had been going on for the whole school year. And on my team, I had Big Ass Kate, which I know you guys remember, or some of y'all might remember her from another story, where she used to be my arch nemesis, but we had gotten cool because I got into this situation where I kind of got into a fight, and Kate stepped in, helped your boy out, you know, because Kate was a big girl. She was a big girl, and she knew how to use her weight in a fight to prove her point, put it to you like that. And also in my group was Martin. Now, you guys have probably heard who Martin is, but let me tell you again. Martin was a dude that had been left back like 2 or 3 times. He was in kindergarten, and he was like 7, 8 years old. And the thing about Martin is he was so comfortable. Our teacher's name was Miss Jackson, but he wasn't even calling her Miss Jackson. He was calling her Rachel. He was like, yo, Rachel, can a nigga get a graham cracker? Yo, Rachel, what's up? Can I get some milk? Can I get some milk over here? Rach, what's good? And she wasn't even saying anything about it. She wasn't even like, oh, don't call me that. She was just going ahead and getting them the milk. You know, like, hey, you ain't going to get out of kindergarten anyway, so does it matter? So they had like a weird relationship. They was cool with each other. You know what I mean? It's like, you know how if you've been working with somebody for years and years, that's how they were. You know, it wasn't like he was a new student. So anyway, I got Martin and I had Kate. So me and Kate and Martin were working together, and we're trying to build our castle. Martin gets out there and he just starts going at it, just building the castle and everything. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think it's going good because I'm trying to go fast because I know that Daniel, I didn't want him to get his castle built first, you know, because I mean he already was always trying to be in the competition. I was in the competition with him too. Oh, you know what? I don't even know if he was really in the competition with me, but I know I was in the competition with him. So I didn't want him to get his castle built first. So I'm like, yeah, Martin, dude, hurry up. Yeah, and we're building the thing real fast. Anyway, we get it built about halfway, a little bit over halfway to where we want it, and the thing falls down. And Kate was like, oh man, it fell. And it was like, you know, just a kind of a pile of rubble. And Martin looks over at everybody else and he's like, oh man, we can't start over. Everybody else is almost done. So he starts building on top of the rubble. And it looks like our castle is a lot bigger, right? But every time he would start building on top of it, because it was built because the stuff that was underneath it was real shaky, all the blocks were real shaky, it would just fall back over again, right? So every time we build it up, it would fall back over. I was kind of getting mad at Martin. I was like, dude, man, we just need to start over again. And he was like, no, everybody else is going to finish before us. And I was kind of a little bit scared of Martin because the fact that, you know, he had been left back quite a few times. And I didn't really want to try to, get into no confrontation with him, because we did get into a confrontation before and it didn't really go my way. Unfortunately, Kay had to jump in there and save her brother, but hey, I was glad she was there. But anyway, we kept building on top of this, and it kept falling down. So Kate started getting mad. And we look over at this other group, and they got their castle almost built up already. It's like super high. And then one of the dudes that was building the castle goes, "Oh my gosh, it doesn't look the way I want it to." And he just goes, psh, and knocks the castle down. So we was like, "Oh, well, hey, they ain't going to be finished." So finally Kate goes, "Look, Martin, we're building the castle from scratch. Okay? I don't want any problems from you." And Martin looked at Kate, and Kate had already choked Martin out one time. Just if you haven't heard another story about this, check it out. It's like take good advice from no matter what the source. Watch that story, Kate had already choked Martin out one time, and Martin didn't want part 2 of that ass whooping to begin over these blocks. So Martin was like, okay, he went on ahead and just let her move all the stuff out of the way. So then we started building again, and putting it together the way it was supposed to be. So I look over because I'm trying to figure out what Daniel in his group is doing, and I see Daniel in his group. They've got their castles. They got their castle. It's like built to where they've made 3 castles. They put 3 castles together, right? And it's like they what they were doing was they would build a whole foundation and basically almost have one castle built up. Then they would take another one and they would do the same thing with it and have it all built up, right? And they were all working on them like different times. So they was like building up 3 castles. Like they would build one, build another one, and they were like build them to a certain level and then go back to the first one and build. You understand what I'm saying? Like basically they were building 3 castles all at the same time. And I was like, what, these mugs building 3 things? What? Damn! So I'm like, come on, we got to get ours done. And then we look over at the group that was in the middle, and they had already erected their castle almost all the way again. We was like, dang, man, we ain't never going to get done. And we were doing better, but ours still wasn't, as far along as this group that was in the middle. And Daniel and them building 3 castles. So we looked, and pow! Dude knocked over in the middle, knocked over the castles again. He's like, it's not perfect. Damn it! Knocked over the castles again. Messed up the whole thing. We like, man, this dude is crazy. So we building ours up again. We getting it built again. We got ours almost to where it's done. We look over at Daniel. Daniel's group done took and put those castles together. They done made like little bridges and stuff like that. And they got their thing. It's all up and it's all together. I ain't gonna even lie, man. I was trying to hate on them. And I actually even thought about going over there and kicking this castle down. But the thing was, it was beautiful, man. It was like 3 castles all put together, but it came together as one thing. That mug was lovely. I mean, he really was something you should take a picture of. He had that mug lovely. I'm not even going to lie to you. And everybody was working together on it. And then we built our castle up finally, and it was pretty straight. It wasn't all that. It wasn't all that. But it turned out pretty good. It could have been better if we would have had more time to work on it, but because we kept trying to build on the rubble for so long, we really didn't get enough time to work on it the way he got to work on his. And the people in the middle, they never got their castle finished. Like the teacher was like, okay, we're going to have to look at them and everything. Sorry. Because they kept knocking theirs down. Every time they get it up good, they would just, bloom, plow that mug. This one dude would just, bloom, plow that mug back down. Like, it's not good enough. So they didn't get anything. They didn't have nothing by the end of the day. So anyway, at the end of the day, the teacher looked at everybody's castles and she praised people. And she said, try to make people feel better if they didn't have a castle. Like, oh, it's okay. That kind of thing. You know how teachers do, especially in kindergarten. They try to make everybody feel good. Anyway, I was sitting here thinking a few days ago, I was actually thinking about that story, and I was just thinking about it. It's so much like life, and like the things we go through in life. A lot of times in our lives, we try to build our relationships. We try to build our careers. We try to build our families. We try to build just our lives in general. And somewhere along the line, maybe we made a mistake. Maybe we didn't go to college and finish, or maybe we went to school for the wrong thing, something we really didn't, we never had any intentions of doing. Maybe we had children a little sooner than we wanted to, and that made us have to take some job that we didn't really want. Maybe that made us get with the person that we didn't really want to be with, and we got married to him or something like that, and we didn't really want to be in that situation. Maybe my mom or dad got sick, and we had to change gears and live somewhere we didn't really want to live, and we built a life there, and that's certainly just not what we want at all. You know, somewhere along the line when we started our life out, the foundation was shaky some kind of way. And it's been tough on us ever since. And it keeps everything crashing down around us. We lose our jobs and stuff because we never got that education that we should have got maybe a long time ago, or because we lose our relationship keeps falling apart because maybe we met the person and we didn't really establish a good relationship with them to begin with. Like I said, maybe somebody got pregnant real super early. Maybe something happened in that relationship, so we never really established a good close bond with that person. And but we decided to go ahead and get married or whatever the case may be. But anyway, whatever the case may be, sometimes we fear starting over, so we just keep trying to build on the rubble. Like every time our lives crash down because we don't have a good foundation, we try to build on that rubble. We like, you know what? I can't let Martha see that me and my husband broke up, or we moved into separate places and we started over again. I can't let my friends see that I'm living in my parents' basement right now because they got this and he got a great job and I don't. I can't let people see that my car had to get repossessed because I didn't have the money to pay for it right now, and I wanted to go back to school and start and do better and fix my life and fix my situation. I don't want to take the time out to do that and let people think that I'm a loser or that I'm not in the best place in the world, because a lot of times we're in competition with other people, and we got other people around us that keep reminding us of that competition. Oh no, look, they almost finished. We got to do this. And even though we know the right thing to do, we just keep building on top of that rubble because we don't want to back off and let other people win this race that we feel is this imaginary race that's going on in our mind. We don't want people to feel like we're behind or we're not good enough or we lost in some kind of way. And some of us are like that person that's in the middle. We get our lives built up and we do a good job, and somewhere at the top something's not right. Maybe it's our marriage. You know, we got married to somebody and they're not perfect. They're not everything exactly the way we want it to be right at that moment. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they gained a little weight. Maybe they got sick. Maybe they going through something emotionally, and we just want to knock it all down. Oh, I don't want to be involved in this anymore. I don't need that anymore. And then we go and we try to build back up with somebody else, or we try to build back up in another situation. And then when that doesn't turn out to be exactly perfect the way we want it to be, we want to knock that down. We go to college and we get a degree in something. Like, say you decide you want to be a lawyer and you say, oh, well, I don't like this particular law firm, so I don't even want to be a lawyer anymore. Let me go get a degree in something else and get another job. And what we end up doing is every time we go to school, every time we go somewhere, every time we decide to do something, it's like if it's not perfect, if it's not everything we wanted, we just wreck the whole thing and try to start over again. So we're always behind. We're never getting anywhere. It's like we build a foundation and it's good, but we don't accept the fact that sometimes things will be a little flawed and need to be tweaked. For us, sometimes it's easier just to start the whole thing over. Like, bam, I'm going to knock it all down and start building again. So just like you never really get to a point where you feel like you finished. And then you got somebody like Daniel's group. And they understand how things really work. You know, it's almost impossible to build one huge castle. It's almost impossible if you look at your life to have the great marriage, the great career, to be the great physical fitness, the great social life. You know, it's almost impossible to build all of that up. You know, just be like, oh, I got it all, everything going perfectly for me. But what you do sometimes is you have to build things in compartments. Like you have to build maybe one little castle that's your career, and then not build it all the way up to the top, but just get your career to a place where you say, hey, I'm doing well enough now to where now I can find somebody and get married. And now that's built up. Now my career isn't exactly where I want it to be, but I got something started. Now let me build up and get married. Okay, now I got my relationship is good. It's doing well. Let me build up my physical fitness, my social life. And now, okay, I got those things. Let me go back and build up my career. Now my career is exactly where I want it to be. Now let me have my family and it's exactly where I want it to be. Now let me build my social life a little bit better. Now it's where I want to be. And people from the outside looking in, all they're going to see is this big old castle. They don't know exactly how. And maybe at the beginning they might look at it like, oh, well, you seem to be mediocre and everything. But when you build up, all they see is a big castle because you put it together. Instead of, trying to build one big castle and having it fall apart on you all the time. What I'm saying is, in life, there are many ways to go about doing something. There are many ways to go about building your life but you're going to have to build your castle one brick at a time. And however you decide to build it, whether you decide to build it this thing first, this thing second, this thing third, you're going to have to build a castle like that. You're not going to be able to build one big, huge thing all at once. You're not going to wake up in the morning and just be right where you want to be. That's not going to happen like that. And you're going to have to go back and fix your foundation and make sure that's straight. Because if the foundation isn't right, then it's going to keep falling down. It doesn't matter. And maybe everything's not going to be perfect, but that don't mean you got to wreck everything and say, I give up altogether. Sometimes it does just take a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of fixing of what you already have and not destroying it all and just giving up. So basically what I want to tell you guys is build. Don't worry about nobody else. Daniel wasn't worried about me. He wasn't thinking about being no competition with me. He was building his castle the best way he could. That's why he built 3 castles that way, because he didn't care if they looked smaller than everybody else's at one time. He was trying to build his own thing, and that's why it was successful. So worry about what you're doing. Worry about how your life is going, your love. Don't be in competition with nobody else because you don't have to be. And don't be afraid to start over. And don't be afraid to fix what you already have. Once again, it was your man, Chaz Ellis. Hopefully I was able to help you guys out with some of my stories. Make sure you hit me up on Facebook at Ask Chaz Ellis on Facebook. Also, make sure you go to the ChazEllisProject.com. It's your man, Chaz Ellis. Please like and subscribe. And share this with somebody else. Peace.